Oh, hi there. I would like to talk about the Force. People use it in their everyday lives. People of authority use it all the time, although they may not look at it as a Star Wars, the Force, a caricature, a promotional idea, or whatever. They just use it as displaying authority. And this can come from everyone from your parents to your principal, your workplace employer, whomever. Uh, People display their ability to control others in everyday surroundings. And sometimes they don't even know that that's what they're doing. They just inadvertently have a controlling personality, and people don't pick up on that. As you get older, you will understand the subtleties and the outside factors of when someone is trying to control you, whether they know it or not. Maybe they're just predisposed to enjoying having their narrative be heard. That's not the case in all times, but sometimes people know exactly what they're doing. Sometimes people don't necessarily. Sometimes people have small-minded goals, and they want to control the social scene that you're in, but they don't have a bigger picture of things. Anyway, that's a very quick description of the Force and how it relates to everyone, because at some point or other, everyone has to deal with somebody who's in a position of authority and will exercise that authority onto that person for whatever means that they desire, whatever they want, why their reason is. And it could be numerous reasons. Bureaucrats, political officials. I'm just naming things off the top of my head. People of authority, people who are telling you what to do. And they use as little words as possible to describe why they want you to do what they want you to do. They just want you to do it. That is their whole goal. That is their ambition, is to control you. And the media, Facebook, news, broadcast, all that sort of stuff, it all spins a certain narrative. And they say it in such a way that eventually most people, if they're not aware of such scene, become submissive. Just go along with it. Don't question anything. Anyway, that in itself is a topic I will go in more depth in future videos. Something I did want to talk about was Donald Trump's campaign rhetoric of draining the swamp. He's not the first politician to have brought that up. Ronald Reagan, I believe, brought it up as well. And basically it means removing of evil, corruption in the government, and wasteful spending and blah blah blah. Anyway, that's the Google dictionary explanation of what it is. But I think there's also another meaning of it. It's getting rid of excess garbage and stuff that's clogging up the system and taking away resources and even emotions. Because there are things that go on in this world that are incomprehensible to people depending on what society controls around them. Because society controls how people think, what they think, why they think it, all the time, every day. It's not just the media, although they play a big part in it as well. It's also got to do with the people around you, people who are older than you, your workplace environment, your social network, maybe your parents, friends, whoever. But draining the swamp also means the exercising of bad people of your racial connections. It's sad to say that there are white people who have committed bad things in other countries, such as South America, especially Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Russia, and all these other sort of things. White people have committed bad things there, in the sense that maybe they were born there, maybe they were mentally unwell, maybe they were inadvertently involved in crime because of their upbringing and their social circumstances, but they were in predicaments. And the fact is, white people, particularly in Canada, but also in the United States and Europe and things like that, need to wake up. They need to understand that people don't like white people in other parts of the world, and there are actually white people in their countries. And they detest them so much, they will look for any excuse to, well, basically torture them. Okay, we don't have the Iron Maiden or the flaming bull or whatever you want to call it, or the stretch board and all the other medieval tortures we used to have. Now we have pharmaceutical medicinals as torture. And that in itself is more effective. You put them in a mental asylum, you put them in prison, you put them away somewhere, and you force feed them medicine, and you can cause a number of ailments that could be easily fixed, easily cured, but they deny them these abilities to recover, in the sense that whatever pain they're in is superficial. Given the correct medicines, they can completely recover very quickly. But they are denied the ability to even know that they've got a problem, and that is what their problem is. The Asians and South Americans and all those people, that's one form of torture they can do. They also harvest your organs, and I'm pretty sure they get up to some medieval torture tactics. And you may ask, well, what does this have to do with draining the swamp? Well, the thing is, a lot of these countries, nations, peoples record on for video evidence of their barbaric acts for the explicit purpose of propaganda, to scare the living daylights out of white people to ever question their authority, question their judgment, question their logic. And the thing is, people in North America, from what I noticed, particularly in Canada, are particularly susceptible to this because they don't understand simple concepts of propaganda. They don't understand context. It doesn't matter if someone who's being tortured in a dungeon or wherever, in a cave or in the swamp or in the jungle, or you name it, wherever, by any means necessary, it doesn't matter what he done. If people are seeing the video of this person being tortured and don't understand why, don't get an explanation of it, they just get the reaction, the instant what they've seen aspect of it, then they're going to be terrified. They're going to panic. And it's all because the context has been taken out. And the thing is, the context can't exactly just be added, because you need appropriate building blocks in your mind to be able to comprehend such things and understand why people do such things, and not develop a case of globus hystericus, global hysteria. You don't want that. You shouldn't even be watching that stuff. But the thing is, would be so easy for our media outlets to be overflooded with this propaganda, no context information that is designed to corrupt the minds of ignorant people. It's very easy and very capable and very lucrative for people to want to do that. That's why I believe the Chinese don't have a superior cyber hacking network. I believe all the information they ever get comes from corrupt politicians, corrupt bureaucrats. They go to Asia, tell them their secrets, they get a bit of money, maybe they get to live in some comfortable place in Vietnam or wherever the fuck they want to live, and they're traitors to their own country. Those people are not heroes. They're not heroes for pointing out corruption and mild wrongdoings of our own government. They're promoting the wrongdoings and the corruption of other countries and strengthening them for profit. I ain't got no sympathy for them. They're dirty rats who sell their own skin for the promise of a comfortable life and the golden era for them. Because they're cowardly. They're afraid of the darkness. They're afraid of these outside extremities, these outside forces telling us how to think, what to think, and why to think it. And these people with their ideologies and their beliefs coming into our country telling us we're wrong, we've been doing it wrong all this time, when they've been committing all the barbaric acts that they've been committing? Excuse me, but we have a conflict of interest here. We got a problem here. You and I, we don't agree. We're never going to agree. And people like me, sure, you do what you want with me, man. I mean, I won't like it, obviously, but you want to throw me in a dungeon for 1,000 years? You go on right ahead. Guess what? Someone will replace me. And people have to understand that it isn't you put a Canadian flag on your backpack and you can travel just about anywhere in the world and you'll be perfectly fine. That's not true. You have white skin, you have blonde hair, you got blue eyes, or any one of those combinations of things, and you can be in deep trouble just for being in the wrong place. And that's where I got a problem with people on Facebook particularly who go, "Oh, why are you discriminating this woman for wearing hijab?" I mean, she's just covering her face and, hiding herself while amongst in public. What, she's supposed to get a driver's license with that sort of thing? Give me a break. But, on the other hand, in her home country, if you're a white guy with a Canadian flag on your backpack, any number of horrible things could happen to you. And that's aside from the heckling and the angry name-calling and all the other things that you'll suffer from there. Not because you did anything wrong. You could be handing out water to everyone, and they'll still come after you because you are a Western country person. You're a white Western country person. So, lay off the crap, Facebook, about that shit about us not liking people wearing something covering their face. Okay? Sure, I'm in the shade and I'm wearing a hood, but that's part of my the Emperor from Star Wars gig. That's what I'm going for right now. But you guys all know what I look like, so whatever. I'm telling you, there are white people out there that are being tortured as we speak in foreign countries, foreign places. Let's take Hong Kong, for example. Hong Kong. It was a British colony for 100 years. It was prosperous. They didn't really want to assimilate back into mainland China. They wanted the British to stay there. And in a way, they kind of did, although they officially left in 99 or whenever they left. But the thing is, who really pulls the strings over there? I guarantee you, it's too close to the mainland. I guarantee you, it's probably the Chinese regime that controls Hong Kong. They've sent their covert agents, and they've taken over political, as long as military and economic institutions. They've taken them over. Covertly, And in such a way that it's just power shifted and it happened quietly so that no one knows. Like the caricature ninja. They just came in and bam, they took over. I honestly don't believe that Hong Kong is in the Western sphere of influence anymore. And any white person who resides within Hong Kong, maybe they were born there, maybe they immigrated there, maybe they are traveling there, whatever. I don't know, I don't care. I would never go there myself, and I feel very bad for them because they are in a very bad situation. Because we have every reason to cut ties economically as well as politically and every other possible way with China specifically. We should not do business with them. We should leave them in the dark ages where they came from. And the problem with that is there is a significant amount of white people there. And if we pull out, then those white people, they're going to suffer. And they're not going to suffer by getting heightened taxes or put stars on their shoulders or any of that kind of crap. It's going to be truly horrible for them. And that is my argument why it's kind of like draining the swamp. In particular for the white people in places like Hong Kong who have done wrongdoings, have been condemned for them, institutionalized for them, whether it be in the prison system, the mental health system, whatever. They may have done wrong and be overly punished for it. And it could be a number of reasons. Human trafficking, drug smuggling, I don't know, extortion. Any one of those sort of things that could be the reason why they're in their current predicament. And there was a lot of money to be made in Asia at certain points, so that kind of businesses would have thrived, and Western corrupt interests would have had a prominent effect. But it's really a person-to-person matter, but some of them may have done wrongdoings and have been overly punished since then. I mean, in Indonesia, you get the death penalty for smoking a doobie. And then I have a guy at work telling me how great it was over there. I'm like, you're going to a place where they'll kill you for smoking a doobie. Yeah, they're not nuts at all. I would really like to go there. That's a total crock. I would never go there. And I would recommend other people don't go there. And that's the thing about that is, as the tourism industry dies on the vine, the white people that are already there are in deep trouble. So that's the angle our government's playing. They're playing the vague, well, maybe you should go to Asia, visit the Great Wall of China, and whatever, the mountains and whatever else they got over there. I don't even know. I don't even care. They're playing that. They're not overdoing it, I'll give them that, but they are playing it, and they're not warning them of the inherent dangers. So you go at your own peril. And you're a fool if you go there. An absolute fool. It's too bad for the white people that were born there and lived their whole lives there. They did nothing wrong to anybody. But that will not stop those people from punishing them for the actions of other white people, because as much as white people like to go, all black people are the same, all Asian people are the same, the thing is, they do the exact same thing with white people. They go, you're white, it doesn't matter if you speak French, English, German, whatever, you're white. So this whole government-promoted propaganda, particularly on the internet, of bashing white people about everything, is a complete load of bullshit. Every other race demonizes whites. White men have been demonized for everything wrong in the world. And there are so many wrongdoings, people who are assholes of all nationalities, of all colors, of all creeds, running around doing whatever they want. And the fact is, what is the white population of Earth? I think it's something like 7%. Are you trying to convince me that 7% of the world is committing all these horrible things to the rest of the world? In fact, that we don't even have occupied territories in a lot of places in the world? Or is it the governments that control those sectors that are the real villains? White people need to be aware. They need to be aware that their government is lying to them. That they're shifting the blame, and the white man is now at the bottom at the totem pole. We're the piñata being blamed for everything. We're the ones getting hit. And it can swing one of two ways. It can go further into us being blamed for everything and the fact that we're just going to get ball busted the whole way. Or it can swing back to a more peaceful, more realistic way of living where we understand our problems, where we know where certain governments are coming from. Okay, in history, particularly during the Cold War, they played it up a bit with the Russians, a little too hard, where people couldn't live comfortable lives because they were afraid of the Russians. Fair enough, they overdid it that time. But this time will be different. People need to be aware that there are certain places where your government isn't going to help you. They can't help you. They won't help you. And if you go there, it doesn't matter what your mindset is, how kind you are, how much money you have. None of that is going to save you. In the end, you'll end up in a ditch. You'll be lost. You'll be forgotten. And no one will ever find you. And in those places are like Asia, Africa, South America. Those are continents of death. And people need to understand you're taking a big gamble. You're taking a risk over what? So you can see some flowers, or some rare snakes, or some insects, or something like that. To go to these places, maybe you get to eat an exotic fruit. It ain't worth it. Not places like that. It just isn't. And unfortunately, this is the nature of draining the swamp. When the tourism industry dies on the vine, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, in those regions, it's going to negatively impact the white people that are already there. So, it's a difficult decision to make, but because a few people made the mistake of going there, doesn't mean the whole white race has to make the mistake of going there. And these are the type of people that cannot be trusted. They're out for our blood. They're out to get us. And if we let our corrupt politicians and travel agents and whomever else dictate to us where we want to go. Look, I had some chump from Italy telling me I should go to Thailand. Thailand! Yeah, I want to go to Thailand with 10-year-old boy prostitutes and drugs running around and all that kind of crazy shit. No, I don't want to go there. People are so deluded and so confused on what the world really is. And the thing is, the world isn't really that complicated. The fact of the matter is there are people out there that are assholes. They're vicious assholes. And it's as simple as that. And you whine and complain about your life in Canada going, oh, it's so hard. I have to work 5 days a week. I have to do this and that. I have no free time and all that. But shit can get a lot worse. And it will. In fact, I don't like Facebook for a number of reasons. Not just because I don't agree with what they have to say, but because they keep pounding it home. It's like their message has to be the message. And anyone who disagrees is ignored. And the fact is, it gets to the point where it is propaganda, and it doesn't matter if the message vaguely says, or even straight up says, that they don't agree with some certain thing, whatever's going on. It's almost like they're promoting that, because in our day-to-day lives, we wouldn't be thinking about it anyway. But we are now, because you keep saying, oh, they're going to open the FEMA camps, it's going to be a police state, taxes are going to go up, food prices are going to go up, all this sort of stuff. You keep saying it, and if you keep saying it and people start to believe it, then that's half the battle. It's going to come true. Because you're turning people into submissive slaves. You're not enlightening them, you're pounding home a message. And those people on Facebook, I don't care what their rationale is, whether they're testing the public, whether they're interested in finding people with a different opinion, some intellectual stimulation on their part, maybe new ideas that they can steal for themselves, whatever. You're scum. You're filth. You're disreputable human beings. And if my name were Joseph Stalin, you'd win a free trip to Siberia. Anyway, yes, tourism needs to stop in the dark continents of the world. Normally when you think of dark continent, you think of Africa, and then people construe whatever idea they want to believe about it to be true. But the fact is, a dark continent is a place where you can die and no one will find you, and you will never be found. You want to go to a place like that? I'm not going to stop you. I give you fair warning. I would advise against it to anybody who asks, or anybody who even lets me know that that's what they plan on doing. But I will not do anything to hinder whatever stupid ideology you have of traveling to these mosquito-ridden, plague, disease-ridden, disgusting places. If you're not going to change your mind about it, nothing I can do for you. I will present you logic and reasoning, and I will even tell you a thing or two about potential logic behind why certain things are the way they are. If you choose to ignore all these things, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry, it's a real sad situation, but a shepherd must watch after his flock. I'm not a shepherd, but my idea is the shepherd could elaborate on much greater detail than me, and do it in a much better way than I can. So, when such a person speaks up, I'll be all ears, because so far it's been rather quiet, other than the chuntering of numbskull idiots. Anyway, I'm starting to get tired. I have to get up in the morning, so I'll see you guys later.